Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and welcome. I finally made it. Very, very happy to be here. Thank you, Dominic, for this beautiful opportunity to be here, to be with all of you. So to start, I just want to take a moment to greet everybody in the way I greet in my culture. So, Assalamu alaikum to you all. Peace be with you. And Namaste. The divine in me sees the divine in you. And I want to take this moment to just offer gratitude to everyone that's made it possible for me to be here. God, my parents, Salzburg, the Austrian embassy. I've had quite a roller coaster. But also it made me remember that while there are all of these systems that make navigating life complicated, there were human beings that received my request and took the effort to make a change and made it possible for me to be here. So it feels very special to finally be here and also to be sharing with you all my book. Over the past 2 years, I've been writing, and a lot of it started after this moment that Dominic described at Salzburg. So my book is called Weaving Wholeness, and it's really an invitation that I hope I can share with you all today, an invitation to the work of creating a world of love and justice. While we may come in for education, I'm hoping we can spend this time together to really step back from that a little bit and explore that question, right, of education towards what? And so can we engage in that conversation about a world of love and justice? This book it's been like a dialogue for me. I didn't know when I started writing that I was going to write a book. And it really felt like every time I sat to write, there was a dialogue that was going on. And I'm hoping that through this dialogue, what I discovered, I can share that with you all. And this can also be a dialogue. So I'm hoping to share a way of listening not just to my stories, but as you listen to my stories, I'd like to invite you to also be listening in to your own stories. And so really taking the time to listen in to what's coming up for us on the inside. And so we'll go slowly, and I'll invite us to pause often. I'll invite us to really feel what's whispering to us in our hearts. And maybe there is where we can collectively find a way to move through these extremely difficult times that we're living through. So I'd like to ask us to pause and really just take a moment with that. To just arrive in this room. Just arrive back into yourself. So if it feels comfortable for you, just taking a moment to connect with your breath, connect with your heartbeat. I know we've had a long day. So just acknowledging whatever may be still running in your mind from that and just taking a breath to arrive here now. And to bring ourselves into this room, I'd also like to bring everything that's made it possible for us to be in this room. So for me, my name is Romana Shaikh. I'm the second generation of women in my family. Is this okay yet? Yeah. I'm the second generation of women in my family to have received an education in English in post-partition, post-independence India. My grandmother, both of them, were what our statistics would have labeled school dropouts. Neither of them completed an education. My maternal grandmother was what we would have labeled, we do label today, a child bride, a teen mom. But she raised a large family of 9 aunts and uncles of mine, and my mom, who's hopefully listening on Instagram, made it possible through all of her hard work and my dad's for me to be here today, for me to have this position of privilege, to have written a book in English, to be at a global stage, to be speaking to people that I don't know and hopefully will. So I'm really taking this moment to acknowledge all that has happened before me, so many more ancestors whose stories I don't know, but because of whom I'm here. And it's that privilege that allows me to navigate everything else that comes with being a Muslim woman today. I'm living through highly Islamophobic and anti-Islamic times in India and the world, and I'm doing that as a woman. And that puts me through a lot on a daily basis. So I'm also acknowledging that with those identities that I carry, I navigate fear on a daily basis. I navigate layers and layers of shame that I've carried about who I am, who the world thinks I am. And many of us carry all of this in our lives. So I'm also just looking around at the room and acknowledging that. There's so many stories, so many identities we carry that are invisible, but they shape us. And so offering you a moment to see if there's something about you that you'd like to really welcome today. It's just welcoming all of you, all those that have come before you. Really expanding this space. And we gather here to work for children. That's what tugs at all of us, and that's what's brought us here. So maybe also bringing a child to mind. Yeah, maybe someone who you think of and just, I can see all the smiles popping up. So a child that's on your mind, a child that's really tugged at your heart. Maybe we can expand this space a little more to also bring children in and let them be our anchor. Our children are who we should be accountable to. And so if it helps, maybe just even visualizing that, all of our ancestors behind us, supporting us, giving us the strength of their life lessons, and all of our children in front of us, reminding us of why we do what we do. And just pausing to recognize this beautiful position we have of being in the middle of the past and the future. And see what that does for you. Just recognizing this duty we have, honoring the past and preparing for the future. Through our conversation today, I'm hoping we can continue to navigate this position of being in the middle, this duty we have to shepherd in a world that we really believe in, that we want to create. And the relationships that come with this position. the relationships between all the identities we carry, the power we carry, and the powerlessness we carry, the positions we hold, the privilege we have, and the relationship between that we have and the children that we serve. I'm really going to ask us to lean into that dynamic. Where does it connect? Where do our lives connect? And where can we recognize the distance? That's the dialogue that this book has been for me. And as the book evolved over these 2 years of writing, then I stopped one day to finally ask, okay, what's really at the heart of this book? I need to make a cover. What's the essence of this book? And the question changed. The question became, who is this book? And then I realized that, oh, this book is a who. And I'm very curious to know who this book will be for you. I'm very excited to be able to share this cover with you, and I hope we can use this to really anchor ourselves through our time together, to really see and make our own meaning of what does it mean to weave wholeness. Whose wisdom is it that will guide us to create this world of love and justice? So I'm going to give us a moment to just see what that question means for us. Salzburg has this beautiful way of connecting people. And so I'm very lucky to have a dear, dear friend, teacher, mentor here. And I'm going to ask Jojo if she would do this with me. So as we reveal this, first time, nobody has seen this, not even my mom. I don't think she's happy about that, but but so be it. I'm very excited to share this with you. Ready? Okay.
Wow.
So just taking that in. The book goes through many moods, it goes through many phases. And for our conversation today, I thought I'd read a few pieces and just offer them. Again, curious to see what it does for you. The intention with the book is really to offer a process. How do we do this work? How do we transform our systems? How do we create a world of love and justice? And what I learned in this work was that this process of transforming systems is really a process of transforming ourselves. It's an inside-out work. And that's what we've explored. So the work calls on each of us to activate love and justice within us, to really feel that force of love, feel that fire of justice within us. And it's in feeling that inside us that we're able to move with that. We're able to act with love and justice outside of us. And so I've come to believe strongly that the future of teaching really rests on us deeply connecting with this present moment that we're in. The present moment that we as individuals are and we as a collective are. So really, let's see how we can sense into that present moment, sense into our hearts and our body minds, and try to understand what's going on here, what's happening here. So I'd like to offer you 3 stories and really ask you to open up your heart to receive these stories and be open to the feelings they might bring up and allow yourself to connect. It's the story of that child who came to school regularly, diligently working through each day. She started working when she was in the 5th grade. By the time she was 18, along with her mother, they invested their savings to open up a small bakery in their neighborhood. Only a few months later, the shop was demolished. No warning, no explanation, just demolished. Overnight, what felt like a chance to break out of poverty was destroyed. Think about that teacher whose throat is dry halfway through the day. They sit down, give the children independent work to do, and put their head down on the desk. Soon they've fallen asleep. It's not a restful sleep, an exhausted sleep. A hungry body, a tired mind, a heart full of anxiety. A loud rap startles them awake, a shout from outside the room, calling them for the weekly training that's about to begin. Their body-mind has been launched into a freeze. The loud sound reminds them of the days they wished they never had. That parent who excitedly returns home, feeling a spring in his step, noticing there's something different about him today. He wonders, what's going on with me today? As his son runs over and asks, "What are you going to teach me today, Dad?" Tears fill up in his eyes as he receives this new way of being seen by his son, as someone who will teach him. Not just someone who cleans the city sewers for a living. Someone who will teach him. Let's see what's going on for you as you hear these stories. Can you recognize the identities behind these stories? They may be individual stories, but they tell us of patterns. See if you can see those patterns. Just acknowledging all these invisible, unseen parts of our lives that show up to school every day, but we maintain them outside the door. We almost live in denial of these adversities that we bring. Really taking a moment to see, what am I feeling as I hear these? Maybe there's a tightness in the belly. I can't do anything about this. I don't want to listen to it. Maybe there's some anger. Especially if you're feeling uncomfortable, really try and listen to that and give it some space. see if you can see who you are in relation to these stories. How does your positionality, your identity protect you or make you vulnerable from these systemic patterns of oppression and adversity? Just an acknowledgement to yourself of how near or far you may be in this lottery of life. Our lives are situated in this context. All the ways we see ourselves and others, the beliefs we have about the world, its fairness and unfairness, they're all shaped in these invisible ways. And context can only be understood in these lived experiences, in each of these stories, these human stories. So this process is necessarily a relational one that will tug on our heart. It is about connecting with each other, leaning into each other's life stories, becoming aware of the invisible anchors and seeing each child, each teacher, each parent in their wholeness. In our current paradigm of education, there's no space for any of this. Our schools are so focused on the next thing, the next lesson, the next exam, the next grade. We're all geared towards achievement, towards teachers' expertise, towards having a job with material wealth, towards success. In this world of me, more, and mine, marginalization doesn't end when a young person graduates. Oppression doesn't end when a young person gets employed. Achievement doesn't guarantee dignity. And hard work, no matter how hard you try, it doesn't guarantee justice. And it's in this paradigm that most of us have come through. And so we've built our organizations, we've built systems, we've built programs that continue to operate in this way. We focus on interventions where young people may achieve foundational literacy and numeracy, but it's far less than foundational. Children will barely make it to middle school, let alone navigate these injustices of life. In this paradigm, I think more critically for us who've gathered here to really contemplate what needs to change, it becomes really important to recognize that even interventions like social emotional learning or mental health or life skills can still be stuck in this paradigm. We might create time to teach children how to understand their emotions. We might want them to be happy and well. But it still can be placing the burden of navigating oppressive systems on the individual. Telling a child, a young person, to be resilient and fight. That's not changing the paradigm. That's telling young people, just learn how to work harder and struggle, but be happy while doing it. You can come and share in class how it was. We have to be careful that when we teach children to self-regulate, to manage their anger, we're not actually controlling and quietening a rightful outrage. It is not wrong for us to be angry. It's justified. And really think about that. Are we doing that and calling it something that it isn't? Are we doing that and asking young people, asking teachers to navigate centuries of oppressive systems? Are we celebrating resilience of young people that navigate hardships, that survive war and genocide? And are we failing to recognize that we've created a world, we're living in a world where genocide is unfolding as we sit here? I recently heard a friend, Nakia Ibrahim, who works in Palestine, Lebanon, and Syria, say, let us work for a day when resilience is a choice. And it really made me pause, because I've heard it so many times in my own life. Oh, you're so strong. Oh, see how much you've navigated. But it's not fair that I have to navigate all this anyway. So when we talk of shifting a paradigm, it's really asking us, who's doing what work? And are we doing the work that we need to do so young people can do the work they need to do? Are we trying to improve teachers in a broken system? Or are we really teaching to transform a system so education can be a process of liberation for us all? Really take a moment to see. And again, if it's uncomfortable, it's okay. It's time to acknowledge. So what are we asking for then? Transforming education systems is about creating and holding a vision that is for the next several generations to come, beyond our short lifetimes. It's about acknowledging that we're chasing the wrong prize. We need to stop. We need to look in a different direction. Look far into the possibilities that have not yet emerged. And this means opening up the space within ourselves to truly innovate, to innovate from a place of not knowing. So I invite you to really see if you can lean into that space. You could close your eyes if you'd like to. And really ask that place deep inside of you, especially the one that's uncomfortable right now. What is my deepest wish for humanity and our planet? Just listen to the whispers that may come from your heart. Fuzzy as it may be, welcome. Welcome the symbols, the colors, your deepest wish for humanity. Just stay with your breath. Allow your inner knowing to speak to you. And if you feel you have something, you can open your eyes and take some moments to really feel this wish, this longing for humanity. If you feel ready, you'll find a ribbon on the seat where you were. And even if your wish is not completely clear, see if you can whisper. Just whisper. No one else needs to hear it. It's just you, your heart, and this ribbon. Whisper your wish into that ribbon and see if you can tie a simple knot. All weaving begins with this one simple knot, a knot that holds an intention. A knot that expresses a commitment between you and your higher self. And really take some time to feel that flowing through your breath, through your heart, through your hands as you tie this knot. The first knot. And know that there's 100 more of us approximately who are making a similar wish. You're not alone. For me, as I engaged in this inquiry, this idea of love and justice came to me, and at first I couldn't understand it. Like, how do these two go together? Isn't love something like soft and mushy and fluffy, and justice feels like full of force? How do these ideas coexist? What does it really mean? And I went into that inquiry, and it took me back into exploring all the different ways that in my own life I've tried and I have failed to live into these ideas of love and justice. I remember a time when I was in my late 20s, second half of 20s, and I was leading a training institute for many years. I led this institute, and almost 3,000 teachers would have trained with me over there. And this institute of ours had a residential component to it. And so I was responsible for food, lodging, stay, timetable, everything, right? From the morning our teachers come in till the day ends for them. And this institute always happened in the same time. It happened in the summer. And the summer is a time that coincides with the month of Ramzan. Ramzan, a month of fasting for the Muslim community, a very important month of really coming into something. And for all the years that I ran this institute, I made no accommodations for this month of Ramzan. So I have no idea how the Muslims observed their practice during this month. Despite being a Muslim, despite having a position of power, I maintained an oppression. I grew up through a school that did nothing for Ramzan. I grew up in a city, in a country where I've only learned that being Muslim is shameful. It's to be rejected, it's to be hidden. And so I did a great job at hiding it. I learned that it was something to be left at home. And so I did. I left it at home. I ignored it. I rejected it. So much so that I disconnected my own self from my Muslimness. But the danger of doing that, while it gave me success, my colonized mind won me lots of success. It's got me here, hasn't it? But I also inadvertently maintained an extremely oppressive system. My teachers learned lots of engaging pedagogy. They learned assessments, they learned differentiation, they learned about creativity and confidence and how to bring extracurriculars to children that are growing up in poverty. But my teachers did not learn to recognize inequity. They just learned to make teaching fun. And it was a really harsh recognition for me to realize what I had done. I had an opportunity there, a chance to really change the paradigm, to create a training experience for my teachers that was inclusive of cultures, that allowed us to explore the place that faith-based practice holds. I had an opportunity to engage in this impact of colonization, of dominant culture, of assimilation. But my own fear of losing the position I had because of my assimilation, it pushed my Muslimness, it pushed me into a place of fear and powerlessness. And this is just one systemic exclusion. My teachers could have learned that fasting is not something harsh that's done to children. It's not something mean. It's an important cultural practice. It's a way of learning, a way of coming in touch with a spiritual sense of self. It's a way of learning that a whole wisdom philosophy explains. And just like this wisdom philosophy, there's all sorts of other ways of knowing in India and in the world that are different from the way our schools look. Be it patriarchy, racism, ableism, casteism. Our systems are so wound up, they wind us up. And even with the best of intentions, without that unburdening, without deconditioning ourselves, I realize that we can all fall into this trap. And that's really our work here. To shift culture, to shift values, is not just about behavior. It's really questioning the structures that have designed our schools, designed our trainings. It's here in being willing to let down our masks, go into our deepest core. If we really see who we are underneath it all, maybe we'll find that space to embrace more cultures, all abilities. How then would we redesign systems? How then might we use our power? How might we use our positions to shift the structural ways that practice, identity, ways of knowing and learning are just left out of school? So that's my question to us. How do we live and breathe love and justice? So every design we make for education, every policy we ask for, every choice in an interaction is coming from that place. A place that may not be comfortable for us because it asks us to lose something. It asks us to take a risk, to do something a little different. What does it ask you to do? Three things I've seen shift across our schools when we've committed to this work of love and justice. I've seen the boundaries between schools and communities dissolve. I've seen teaching become a way of nurturing children. The way mothers lead this Saturday club in Sierra Leone, where they work with young women, young girls, and they spend time to really discuss and navigate the challenges of what it means to be female. They celebrate what it means to be female. Mothers and young girls, every Saturday. I've seen the walls break between decision making when families, children, and educators come together to evaluate school. You say, hey, what do we like about our school? What's working? Where do we want to go from here? Decision making gets distributed. Power gets shared. Everybody shares the ownership of leading and learning in school. Teaching is not something that happens in front of a blackboard by writing in a notebook. It happens when you're at the farm. It happens when your mom is teaching you how she cooks. It happens when your father is teaching you how he runs the shop. Teaching is not about qualification. Teaching is about the transference of life skills, of life wisdom. And we can do that in many ways. We can do that when we learn to include always, when we break the separation. We can do that when we love so deeply, the pain moves us to demand for justice. Because our children deserve nothing less. Just like this one teacher who was a year away from retirement. I met her after the war had begun in Armenia, and I went a year later. And she was a year away from retirement, and she says to me that, you know, in all of these years of teaching, no one has asked me about my children before. I said, it has just occurred to me that I'm a teacher of children, not subjects. I wish I wasn't retiring. And for me, that story just summarizes the work. It summarizes how we bring joy back to teaching, how everybody feels their own liberation tied in that pursuit of liberation for children. It's in this shift from seeing the student to seeing the whole child that we can find our wholeness. We can find how every choice we make, every interaction we share, can be that moment of seeing someone, that moment of being seen by someone. And it's in this exchange with each other where we realize how interconnected our lives are. This is the second act of weaving. So here's where I'll ask you to see if you're ready. And this time, see if you are ready to weave your commitment to love and justice, knowing that it will impact the one next to you. So you're going to take your ribbon, and if you feel ready, with each person on either side of you, offering them in silence that commitment that you are making. What's your personal act towards love and justice, towards another person's liberation? So again, take a moment. You can whisper to your ribbon. It's just between you and your ribbon. And if you feel ready with the person on your right and on your left, thank you, Jojo, go ahead and in silence, just knot your ribbons together. You can take a moment to even look at each other. Just acknowledge that we're doing this together. And if we each tie it to the person next to us, our whole row will soon be tied. And taking this moment to notice what's happening. If each of us makes personal movements for love and justice, becoming aware of these ripples that are going across the room. 1 knot to 2 knots. And really breathing with yourself. Just acknowledging. Teaching in a paradigm of love and justice is teaching for who we are at our core. Deeply relational beings. Deeply connected beings. I see this side of the room is going all out with their weaving. And so we'll allow you to keep weaving and keep acknowledging that it's each one of our personal movements. These will be what creates the ripples, what brings the joy. And we can stay with that and just let that rest. So as we've all woven, we've all made from our personal commitments, we've all made a relational commitment. And now for the third step, from our knots to our weaves, I'd like to invite us to where, I don't know, where's it gone now? Where have we reached? Beautiful, beautiful. So we have, I think, 1 now. It's become 1. It has become 1. So what I'd like us to take a moment to reflect on is, how do I need to lead in this work? Do I need to step back? Do I need to step up? Whose wisdom, whose knowledge is going to lead us into this work? So we move from being survivors of the system to really becoming creators of the world that we want. So we have 1 long weave, and maybe a few of us will feel called to stand up, to rise and bring that up and weave that. And the rest of us, we're going to support with our presence. So just take a moment, check in with your heart. Do you feel called to lead by weaving? Do you feel called to lead by supporting? And even if you're supporting, you're going to be doing something. Don't worry, I'm a good teacher. And so for us that are going to sit and support, we're really in this work, right? Taking a step back is not passive work. It's shifting power. And so we're going to lead in a different way. So today we're going to lead by singing. So we're going to do a very short song for those of us who are going to be here. And really, we're singing to let people know that, hey, we are with you in creating this world. We're not watching you struggle on your own. We are with you. We're active allies in this work. Okay? So the song is really simple. We can all learn it. And then whoever is going to come up and weave, this is little trellis board is where you're invited to weave. You can weave in and out, knot it as you please. So the song we're going to sing is very simple. I'll do the first line and then you can repeat it after me. I send my love. Okay, I send my love. I'll do it once more. I send my love.
I send my love
Over the mountain.
over the mountain.
I send my love.
I send my love
Into the sea.
into the sea.
I send my love.
I send my love
Into the heavens.
into the heavens.
And it comes back to me.
And it comes back to me.
Simple? All right. So who's going to be bringing us, weaving for us? Yeah? I'm sure we can have at least 7, 8 people. All right. Okay, and the rest of us, we can start singing on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I send my love over the mountain. I send my love into the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it comes back to me. Once more, now really bring your heart into it. You can move as well. Love over the mountains. I send my love into the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it comes back to me. Last time, and we'll dial it down. I send my love into the mountains. I send my love into the sea. I send my love. Really holding that wish in your heart for every child. And it comes back to me. Really sending that to every child you know, every child you don't know, and every child that may not see tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you for leading us in the weaving. I look forward to the next few days with everyone together. Thank you, Dominic. I promised you a song.